All right, welcome back everyone to my new YouTube channel, Invest the Rest. What I wanted to do today was put out a quick update video on my options focused trading account. If you've been following my channel for any length of time, you know that I started 3 accounts January 2nd of 2025, all with a balance of $10,000 and drastically different trading strategies. The account I'm doing an update on today is the account that's focused on selling call contracts, selling put contracts on a very limited selection of funds to harvest that contract premium. Now, if you watched my video from earlier in the week, you would have seen my January monthly recap, stating that we not only met our monthly goal of $600 per month, but we exceeded it. And the reason I wanted to do another update before we jumped into week 5 of 2025, or the first week in February, was because there were a couple of later week trades after I put that previous video out that pushed us even farther, pushed my account farther past my original goal of $600 per month. So I want to cover some of those trades and also stress that months like this that go really well and almost go perfectly, in my opinion, based on my original trading strategy, that's why time in the market matters, right? Invest the rest. Take all your extra money, get it in the market, because more time in the market equals more money. There are going to be good months like January was for me, and there's going to be bad months in the future where we don't reach our goals. That's why time in the market matters. All right, now I'm going to jump into the spreadsheet here and cover a few additional late week trades. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And this video and all of my videos are for entertainment purposes only. I always highly encourage everyone to do your own research, multiple different sources, and understand what you're investing in before you use your own money. All right, as you can all see on the screen, we have a monthly goal for this account of $600 per month. Now, when my last video went out, we were above that by a decent amount. I believe we were right around $650, $660. Later in the week, January 29th and January 30th, the market made some moves that enabled me to open the trades that I needed to open for that would expire February 27th, or the first week in February, week 5, right? This coming Friday. And what happened was, first of all, on 131, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the contracts that have expired, okay, from last week, week 4. On January 31st, the put contract on TSLL with a strike price of 23 expired worthless because the current price at close on Friday was $26.70. So whoever bought that contract isn't going to force me to buy at $23 a share, because they can currently sell it on the market for $26.70 per share. So that contract expired worthless, and I retained the $69 or $68.33 after fees of that contract premium without having to buy those shares. The same thing happened for MSTU, okay? Getting in earlier in the week on 127 at $8.50 and $7.50 per share for each contract, right? Those were our two strike prices. Luckily for me, MSTU did close at $9.19. You can see that here. MSTU's been a little bit down lately, but in my opinion, like I expressed during my last video, I felt that the $7.50 strike price and the $8.50 strike price were still very conservative. I've seen a lot of support for MSTU right at that level or above. So I opened those contracts earlier in week 4 on 127. The TSLL contract was opened the prior week on 122. So all 3 of those contracts that were set to expire on January 31st, 2025, which was this past Friday, all expired worthless. I didn't have to buy any of the shares, and I got to retain all of the premium, which was $122. Or $121.99 for those of you keeping track to the penny. So later in the week, I wasn't sure what I was going to open. The market's been up down. It's been down lately, and there's been a lot of different skeptics of where the market is going to go. Well, TSLL did make a move late week towards the downside. I thought that this contract here for $23 was at risk. I went over that in my previous video because I believe it did drop down near $25 or $24 Thursday or Friday of last week. So I took the opportunity, knowing that this may get assigned, I took the opportunity to open another put contract on TSLL. I opened this on 129 and I opened it for the following Friday, February 7th, and I opened it for a strike price of $20. Knowing that my $23 strike price contract could get assigned on Friday, right, 2 days later, if I had to buy at 23, I felt comfortable buying another 100 shares at 20 and dollar cost averaging or lowering my cost basis of TSLL. If TSLL this contract did not get assigned, this put contract from the previous week did not get assigned, that would mean that TSLL moved back to the upside, which it did, $26.70. And that means that this $20 strike price would be even more safe, right, for the following week. And that's exactly what happened, okay? I didn't have to buy those TSLL shares at $23, and I was able to get in at a $20 strike price for TSLL for 77 cents a share, or after fees, $76.33, which was actually a better premium than the contract at the $23 strike price from the week before, where I only got $68.33. So very happy with that trade. I saw TSLL make a move, drop a little bit later in the week, and I said, you know what? I'm going to open an even lower strike price contract on TSLL, and I felt very good about that. So we'll see how that plays out in week 5, right? We have to go an entire week. TSLL has a lot of movement. It's very volatile. Recently, it's been to the upside, but that could change at any given moment depending on what data hits the market this week. Moving on to the 2 call contracts that I was able to sell on MSTU. Remember back in week 3 on 124, and this should say all of these years should be 25. So I will fix that right now because we're in 2025. I'm sure all of you have done that plenty of times. We're still all getting used to that new year and the date. But as you remember from week 3, the 2 MSTU contracts that I sold, the 2 put contracts that I sold at an $11 strike and a $12 strike, both got assigned. So I currently own 200 shares of MSTU. 100 was bought at $11 per share, and the other 100 were bought at $12 per share. Well, because of the price action on MSTU, I couldn't get decent premium to open a call contract in week 4 for the MSTU shares that I own at the same strike price. Now remember, my strategy is to open the call contracts at the same price that I get assigned on the put contracts. I'm not looking for capital gains. I'm not looking for capital losses, obviously. I just want to get assigned, reopen a call contract for the same strike. Hopefully that gets called away and I harvest the premium on both contracts. As you know, if you've been following my channel, even though I did get assigned, I still retain the premium. So I still retain the $71.83, but I do have to buy the shares. So those got assigned. Later in the week, again, Thursday, 1:30, or January 30th of 2025, MSTU made enough of a shift to the upside. I believe it shifted up to around $9.60. Don't quote me on that, but that's right around where I started noticing the premiums increase for the $11 and the $12 strike price. And so I sold, right, or opened. I call it open, but I sold 2 call contracts on MSTU. 100 shares each, same size as the ones that got assigned, for 55 cents a share on the $11 strike price and 30 cents a share on the $12 strike price. That gave me a total after fees of $83.66. Now, And actually, I think I got up here wrong. I called it $71.83. It's actually $143.66. I just realized that. I was reading the wrong line, but for the two that got assigned. But down here, $83.66 was awarded in premium. I opened at an $11 and a $12 strike price. You know, the current price of MSTU is $9.19. So if we don't make it above $11 or $12 for the MSTU price by February 7th, these shares will not be called away, right? I only am going to have to, the buyer of that contract is only going to initiate the terms of that contract for them to be able to buy my shares at $11 or $12 if MSTU goes to a price above $11 or $12, right? If it stays at $9 or $10, no one's going to come to me and say, hey, I want to turn this contract in and I want to buy your shares for 11 if they can buy shares on the market at 10, right? That wouldn't make sense. They're only going to enact the terms of that contract if MSTU goes above those strike prices. And because of where it is at $9.20, it's got a ways to go. And I'm okay with that, right? I got a decent premium in my opinion. Again, the two combined, $84 rounding up. And if they don't get called away, I just open two more call contracts for next week and the week after and the week after that. And I just continue to harvest that premium until MSTU goes above that price and those shares get called away. Now, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated in my strategy. We've been lucky. Most of the contracts have expired worthless so far. We only got assigned 4 contracts out of all the contracts shown on the screen up here in week 1 and right here in week 3. But now I may also in week 5, depending on what the price action does for MSTU on Monday at market open, I may open additional put contracts on MSTU. And what I would be looking to do is lower my cost basis for MSTU overall. So if MSTU drops to, let's say, $8 at market open on Monday, I may open a put contract for $7, probably get a very nice premium for that. And even if that $7 per share strike or contract gets assigned at the end of the week on 2/7, that means I bought 100 shares at $7, 100 shares at 11, and 100 shares at 12, and my average cost across all 300 shares drops significantly, right? The average cost for these 200 shares that I own now is $11.50, where if I buy another 100 at $7 a share, I can lower that average cost and then open a call contract based on that average cost if I need to get rid of these MSTU shares. So we'll be tracking call contracts on MSTU. We'll also be tracking put contracts on MSTU at the same time to lower our average cost basis. TSLL, I'm very confident in that. I got so much premium for that. I probably won't do anything. I'll just let that one expire. If TSLL does drop this week, maybe it drops to 21, I may open another put contract in week 5 at 18, right? Or 17, something very conservative that I feel TSLL is going to remain above. And again, if it gets assigned and the one right here, the $20 strike also gets assigned, then I'm still continuing to lower my cost basis. What I don't want to do is start selling put contracts on either TSLL or MSTU above any of these strike prices, because if those get assigned, all I'll be doing is raising my cost basis, and I don't want to do that. I want to get rid of my MSTU shares first, and then I can reset and start buying, closer to the market price. But I don't want to raise my average cost basis while I'm currently holding shares of MSTU. And that's a personal choice, right? You could sell. If MSTU takes off, you could sell a put. Up at $14. But then if it tanks at the end of the week, now you're buying at 14 and you already own at 11 and 12. And I'm not willing to take that risk of raising my average cost basis. That's my strategy. do your own research, come up with what works for you. But I'm being very conservative because I don't want to get stuck with a bunch of shares at a high cost for a long period of time, because the turnover of the contracts is what gives me the premium that I'm looking for. All right. So that's all the contracts that were opened at the end of week 4. We're rolling into week 5. We'll see what MSTU does on Monday and Tuesday this week. Maybe open a couple more put positions on MSTU if we're able to. If not, we may let these 3 trades ride and then look at week 6, opening some contracts in week 5 for week 6. Later in the week, in week 5, to make sure we're fairly confident about where things are going to end up at the end of week 5 or on 2/7. So that's where we stand. What's the big thing about this video? Well, $759.27 made through the first 4 weeks of the year. Okay, through January 31st, all of my trading activity has gained me $759.27 in premium, all with a $10,000 account. And if you've been watching my video, you know that we didn't exhaust all of our resources, right? Right now, my total assigned and my total exposure is only $4,300. So I have another $5,700 that I could be trading with, but I'm being very conservative. And so with $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, we've been able to make $759.27 in income. If we were to use and push the limits, use all $10,000 every single week, obviously that number would be higher, but it's, how risk adverse do you want to be? And I'm starting out, because I'm new at this and I'm testing out this strategy, I'm starting out very conservative. The reason I mention all that is because I want to kind of portray or articulate the potential of these accounts, right? With a low amount of money. And I know not everyone has $10,000, but even with $1,000, right? If you use 500 of it, you could make $75.93 with 500 bucks, right? The percentages, they're applicable to whether you have $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, or $100,000. You can still trade the same contracts, ensuring that you either have, 1, you have margin, or 2, you do have enough cash in the account to cover the contract, right? If you only have $500 in the account, you can't trade a partial contract. So you do need a little bit more money to run this strategy, because if you do get assigned, right, I got assigned $2,300 in TSLL or MSTU, specifically in this case MSTU, but I could get assigned another $2,300 in TSLL. You need the money in your account to cover that, but it doesn't have to be MSTU. It doesn't have to be TSLL. You can still trade options on funds that are cheaper, that meet your budget. Maybe you only have $5,000, maybe you only have $2,000. Find a stock, something that's volatile, something that has good premiums, that is a lower price, right? TSLL used to be down near, I think it was $800, $800, right? $7, $8 a share, which is $800 if assigned on an option contract. So if you only have $2,000 at that time, you could have traded TSLL. Now, maybe TSLL is a little out of reach, but maybe you can trade MSTU. If I had gotten assigned this contract here, $7.50 a share of MSTU, well, that's $750. So that's more budget friendly to an account with only $2,000, only $3,000, something like that, right? You have to cater your trading activity, your stock selection, your fund selection, and your premium. It all has to align based on what your budget is. And, maybe you're not there. Take a look. Maybe you only have $500. Maybe option trading, like I said, 500 to 1,000 option trading is going to be difficult. Check out my other videos, right? High yield dividend ETFs, a little bit more passive. You get that dividend payment, you build that account, and then you start trading options. Or look at my low to medium risk index fund videos, right? Very passive, put it in there, gain 2-3% a month, wait for that account balance to increase, and then start trading options when you feel comfortable, right? Option trading is difficult. make sure you understand the stock market. I would not recommend, in my opinion, starting with option trading. I started with the other two first. It's, in my opinion, quite a bit safer of an investment and easier to handle. So I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still working through my own strategy, but I'm just putting this out there. I like making videos on this so people can follow along. You know, all the information's out there for us to learn. All the information's out there for us to get better at this and slowly build our portfolios. So that's the video for today. A little bit longer of an update, but I am very excited about this account. It's off to a great start in 2025. $759.27 with a $10,000 initial balance is great progress. So if you liked what you saw, you found this entertaining, informational, like below, comment below, start a discussion. I respond to all comments so far, and I'll continue to do so as I'm able. And then subscribe to the channel. It helps me out and it helps you out to be notified when new videos are posted. And as always, everyone, thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.